All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're all about calls to action, or CTAs, as the cool kids say.
Those things that get people to actually do something after they read your amazing content, of course.
Exactly. And let's be real, we've all seen some pretty bad CTAs out there. The ones that make you want to run in the opposite direction.
Oh, absolutely. Like, click here for more information. Ugh, so vague.
Seriously, what am I even clicking for? More information about what? But today, we're going deep, diving into what actually makes a CTA work. We've got some fascinating research here.
We're talking about the psychology behind persuasion, the art of crafting those irresistible calls to action that get people clicking, signing up, and buying.
We'll unpack the anatomy of a killer CTA, look at some real-world examples, and even delve into the ethical considerations.
Because with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to be creating those spammy, clickbaity CTAs that make people feel tricked or manipulated.
Right. We want to use these tools for good, to help businesses connect with their audience in an authentic and meaningful way.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a call to action? I mean, we sort of know, but...
Well, at its core, a CTA is any prompt that encourages your audience to take a specific action. It could be anything from clicking a button to signing up for a newsletter to making a purchase.
Okay, that makes sense. But it sounds kind of, I don't know, simple.
Oh, it's anything but simple.
Yeah.
Crafting an effective CTA is a delicate balance of art and science.
Hmm.
You need to understand your audience, your goals, and the psychology of persuasion.
And you've got to get creative. I mean, think about all the different ways you can ask someone to do something.
Exactly. You can be direct, you can be playful, you can even use a bit of humor. The key is to find what resonates with your audience.
Okay, so it's not just about slapping a buy now button on your website and calling it a day. There's a lot more to it than that.
Way more. It's about creating a sense of urgency, highlighting the value proposition, and making it ridiculously easy for people to take action.
Speaking of easy, let's talk about the anatomy of a truly effective CTA. What are those key ingredients that make a CTA irresistible?
Well, first and foremost, clarity. Your CTA needs to be crystal clear about what you want people to do.
No beating around the bush. You're telling them exactly what action to take.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of a strong action verb.
Ooh, like download, register, subscribe. Gets right to the point.
Exactly. And it's not just about telling, it's about enticing. You need to give people a reason to click that button.
Right, what's in it for them?
Exactly. That's where the value proposition comes in. What benefits will they get by taking action?
I've noticed that a lot of effective CTAs create a sense of urgency.
Oh, absolutely. Urgency is incredibly persuasive. Think limited time offers, exclusive deals that don't miss out feeling.
Like that flash sale email subject line that makes you drop everything and click.
Exactly. It taps into our fear of missing out. We're wired to grab a good thing before it's gone.
Makes sense. But urgency only works if the reader actually believes they're getting something valuable, right?
Right. It all comes back to that value proposition.
I remember reading in one of our sources that framing the offer can make a big difference. Like instead of just saying get 20% off, you could say only 2 days left to save 20%.
Ooh, clever.
Yeah, it suddenly becomes about avoiding a loss, which can be even more motivating.
That's a great example of using psychological principles to your advantage. But it's not just about slapping these elements together randomly, is it?
No, definitely not. Presentation matters. It's like dressing up for a first date. You wouldn't show up in sweatpants.
Huh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Design and placement play a huge role. Think color psychology, white space. It's like composing a visual symphony to guide the reader's eye towards that all-important button.
So you're saying it's not just about the words themselves, but also how they look and where they're placed on the page?
Exactly. It's about creating visual appeal that draws the reader's eye.
And speaking of placement, when is the best time to hit someone with the CTA? Is it above the fold, at the end of a blog post, a strategically timed pop-up?
Well, that depends on a lot of factors. It's about understanding the user journey. When are they most likely to be receptive to your call to action?
That makes sense. But honestly, how do you know what actually works best? Is there some secret formula out there?
Well, there's no magic formula, but there is a secret weapon, A/B testing. Think of it like a scientific experiment for your CTAs.
Okay, walk me through it.
You create different versions of your CTA, tweaking the wording, the color, the placement, and then you see which one performs best.
So you're basically running a little competition to see which CTA is the most persuasive.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You have to tailor your CTAs to your specific audience and what you're trying to achieve.
Let me think about my own goals here for a second. Okay, so if I'm trying to build an email list, maybe offering something like get exclusive tips you won't find anywhere else would be effective.
That's a great example of a clear value proposition. But if you're running a flash sale, that sense of urgency becomes paramount. Last chance to save 50%.
Ooh, yeah, that definitely has a sense of urgency. Okay, so it seems like understanding your audience is crucial here.
Absolutely. It's about getting into their heads, understanding their needs, their motivations, what makes them pick, what do they want.
Okay, so it's like choosing the right bait for the fish you're trying to catch. You have to know what they're hungry for.
Exactly. If you're targeting millennials, a humorous, meme-inspired CTA might work wonders. But if you're going after a more mature audience, a straightforward, benefit-driven approach might resonate better.
So it's all about tailoring the message to the specific needs and motivations of your target audience. I'm starting to see how much psychology goes into crafting these seemingly simple phrases.
Oh, it's fascinating. It's about more than just demographics, like age, gender, and location.
Mhm.
We also need to consider psychographics, their values, beliefs, lifestyles.
Right. So if you were selling a productivity app, you might want to tap into the user's desire for efficiency and control. Something like, take charge of your day, download now.
Exactly. You're speaking directly to their needs and offering a solution. It's about that perfect alignment between what you're offering and what your audience craves. But let's not forget that the words themselves are only part of the equation.
Right. We talked about that earlier. Design and placement are super important too.
Exactly. It's all about creating that visual appeal that draws the reader's eye. Think about the websites you visit frequently. What are the CTAs that always seem to catch your eye?
Whew, good question. I'm starting to notice them everywhere now that you mention it.
It's like seeing the Matrix. Okay, now let's dive into some real-world examples of brands that are absolutely crushing it with their CTAs. We've got some awesome case studies from Slack, Airbnb, HubSpot, companies that have cracked the code to converting browsers into loyal customers.
Ooh, case studies. I love those. Let's hear it.
These case studies are fascinating. They're like little windows into the minds of marketing geniuses.
Okay, I'm ready to be inspired. Hit me with your best shot.
Let's start with Slack. Their goal was to get tons of people signing up for their platform, and their sign up for free CTA was brilliant. Simple, clear, no barriers to entry.
Yeah, I remember seeing that everywhere when Slack first came out. It definitely worked on me.
Right. It clearly communicated the value proposition. Hey, it's free, it's easy to use, and it made it super simple to get started. No hoops to jump through, just click and go.
It was perfect for their target audience, too. Busy professionals who value efficiency. Nobody wants to waste time figuring out how to use complicated software.
Exactly. And the free element was crucial, especially when they were just starting out. Who doesn't love free stuff?
Okay, what's next?
Airbnb. Their objective was to get more people to list their properties on the platform. But instead of focusing on the potential earnings, they went with list your space.
List your space. That is interesting.
It's subtle, but it's powerful. By framing it as listing your space rather than renting out your property, they tapped into a different mindset. It becomes less about the money and more about the experience.
I see what you mean. It's about becoming part of a community, sharing your unique space with the world.
Exactly. It's about tapping into those underlying motivations that drive human behavior.
Mm.
We're not always rational creatures. We're often driven by emotions and desires that we don't even fully understand ourselves.
True, true. Emotions are powerful. Okay, let's move on to our next case study. What have we got?
Spotify. Remember that get 3 months of premium for 99 cents CTA we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Pure genius.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. A perfect combination of a strong value proposition, a limited time offer, and an insanely low price point.
It was like they had a direct line to our brains. They knew exactly what buttons to push to get us to upgrade.
But I wonder, would that approach work as well for a more budget-conscious audience?
That's a great point. It all comes back to knowing your audience. For someone who's really watching their pennies, maybe you'd want to highlight the long-term value of a premium subscription.
Right, like how much money you could save on data charges by using offline playback, or the fact that you can skip unlimited songs so you're not wasting time listening to stuff you don't like.
Exactly. You're framing it as a cost-saving measure, which is much more appealing to someone who's concerned about their budget.
Okay, I'm getting it. So what's next on our list of marketing masterminds?
HubSpot. They wanted to generate leads for their marketing automation platform. But instead of going for the hard sell, they offered a download-free marketing guide, CTA.
Smart move. Give away something valuable for free and position yourself as an expert in the field.
Exactly. They understand that people are wary of overt sales pitches. They want to feel like they're in control, like they're making an informed decision.
And who doesn't love free stuff? It's like a little taste of what they have to offer, which might entice people to come back for more.
Right, it's like offering a free sample at the grocery store. If you like it, you're more likely to buy the full-size product.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the king of e-commerce, Amazon. Their add to cart and buy now buttons are practically iconic at this point.
They've become part of our everyday language. It's amazing how they've managed to streamline the entire purchase process, making it so ridiculously easy to buy things.
Oh, I know. One-click ordering, pure genius. It's almost dangerously easy to spend money on Amazon.
It's all about removing any friction from the buying process. They understand that even a few extra seconds of deliberation can lead to lost sales.
It's like they've tapped into our lizard brains, the part of us that just wants instant gratification.
Exactly. They figured out how to bypass all that rational decision-making and appeal directly to our impulses. It's fascinating and a little bit scary at the same time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so we've seen some amazing examples of CTAs that work, but what about the ones that don't? Are there any common mistakes that people make?
Oh, for sure. One of the biggest mistakes is using language that's too pushy or aggressive.
Like those buy now or regret it forever CTAs.
Yes, those make me cringe. It feels so manipulative.
It's like being harassed by a used car salesman. Not a good look.
Exactly. You want to be persuasive, but you don't want to bully people into buying from you. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balance between confidence and respect for your audience.
Another mistake I see a lot is using CTAs that are too vague or generic. Like, what does learn more even mean? More about what?
It's like inviting someone to a party without telling them what kind of party it is. They might not be interested in going if they don't know what to expect.
So specificity is key. You need to give people a clear understanding of what they're getting by clicking that button. No surprises.
Right. And as powerful as CTAs can be, we have to remember that there's a dark side to persuasion.
You mean the ethical considerations?
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of driving conversions and forget that we're dealing with real people, with real emotions.
We've all been there, right? You click on something that seems too good to be true, and it turns out to be a total scam.
Oh, absolutely. Those limited time offers that never seem to expire, the pop-ups that demand your email address before you can even read the article, that stuff is so frustrating.
It feels like a betrayal of trust.
Exactly. Those tactics might work in the short term, but they ultimately damage a brand's reputation. People will catch on eventually.
It's like the boy who cried wolf. If you keep using those tricks, people will stop believing you.
Right. And who wants to do business with someone they don't trust? Nobody. So how do we use these powerful tools for good? How do we strike that balance between persuasion and ethical responsibility?
One of our sources emphasized the importance of transparency and honesty. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't use manipulative language to trick people into clicking.
It's about building genuine relationships with your audience. Relationships that are based on mutual respect and trust.
Right, because at the end of the day, we're all just humans trying to connect with each other. And those connections are a lot more valuable than any short-term gain.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. It feels like we've unlocked the secrets of the CTA universe.
And now it's time to put all that knowledge to work. I mean, think about your own website, your social media, all those marketing emails you've been crafting. Yeah, right. Take a look at your CTAs. Are they really doing their job? Are they clear, concise, and totally irresistible?
Do they speak directly to your audience, make them feel like you're reading their minds?
No.
Are they designed to get those clicks, those conversions?
Don't be afraid to get creative, to experiment with different approaches. Try tweaking the wording, play with different colors. See what happens when you move that button around.
A/B testing is your friend. Remember, there's no magic formula here. It's all about trying things out and seeing what works best for your audience.
It's like you're a scientist in a lab, running experiments, analyzing the data, and constantly refining your approach.
Exactly. It's a journey of continuous improvement. But as you embark on this CTA adventure, always keep those ethical considerations in mind.
Right. Transparency, honesty, and respect for your audience, those are non-negotiables.
Exactly. It's not just about driving clicks or conversions. It's about building genuine, lasting relationships.
Because those relationships, those connections, are ultimately what matter most. Well, folks, that's a wrap for our deep dive into the world of calls to action.
We hope you enjoyed the journey. We know we did.
We'd love to hear from you. What are some of the most effective CTAs you've come across? What are your biggest CTA challenges?
Have you tried any of the strategies we've discussed today? Share your experiences, your questions, your CTA triumphs and fails on social media using the hashtag #DeepDiveCTAs.
Until next time, may all your calls to action be clear, compelling, ethical, and of course, conversion driving.